Welcome to episode 256 of the Working Fans Podcast, where today myself and the man called Dave are pre-recording once again because of the busy holiday week. So we are on time with the Money in the Bank preview, a week late with the Forbidden Door preview, and 2 weeks away from Who Killed WCW. This was a great miniseries that popped up on Vice. What did you think of the fourth episode, Dave?
I felt like it just started to get redundant for me. Like, it was fun, but I definitely was ready to move on by episode 4. I think after Vince Russo, I think I was kind of ready to move on. It just
episode 4 was all right, but I mean, if you're familiar with the story, then you know all about the sale. I think the biggest, upside of it was probably just seeing that old footage that they've had sprinkled throughout the series.
Yeah. You know what else people are trying to sell? Your favorite seltzer.
Oh, it's less like a seltzer, and it's more like your favorite seltzer and sports drink got together, procreated, and had the greatest creation that we have tried in a while. Game Up Hard Hydration, 4 great flavors. Dave's going to give you the rundown.
We're talking fruit punch, we're talking orange, we're talking lemon lime, and we're talking grape. Guys, it's only 110 calories. Get yourself some Game Up.
Yeah, summertime, fill up a cooler, dump some ice in there, and dump some Game Up. And we kind of dumped the WCW talk quick because it was a good end to a show. But in the end, I don't know, it was such a great series and it was just such kind of a flat ending because in the end, it just a great company sold for next to nothing to Vince and, kind of a sad end of the story. I liked what they did. I hope they do more shows with Vice.
I guess if you had to look at the silver lining of everything being sold and who made out the best, Booker T?
Yeah, I'd say Booker T really did the best, got the title out of there, was able to catapult himself into a spot in WWE and had such a run there. If you watch NXT now, Booker is still involved with the company. There's some time that he popped out during it, but Booker T really came out on top. I'm trying to think if there were any other real winners from that. Conan looked the best in the series, kind of talking about things without really kind of seemingly taking sides.
Yeah, for sure, Conan. I always thought Conan was very straight up. If you listen to Conan's podcast, Keeping It 100 with Conan.
Big pay-per-view coming up this weekend in real time, or in the time that everybody's watching this, Money in the Bank, but in our present time, Forbidden Door is this weekend. And Forbidden Door, New Japan Pro Wrestling, AEW. Since it's an AEW pay-per-view, that card is going to be long. Dave, including pre-show matches, how many matches do we have on the card?
CMLL involved in this too this year, and we have 13 matches altogether with pre-show.
And that's going to stand out when we get to how many matches are in Money in the Bank.
Chris Statlander and it's going to be fun. Momo Wanatabe versus Will Nightingale and Tam Nakano.
That's not a bad match. You got that Willow and Statlander feud going. I've heard good things about Tam Nakano, and the other lady I have not, but must be from Stardom. So we even got Stardom involvement in this, it sounds like.
So I'll go with Statlander. They'll keep the heat on her, is my guess.
Oh, wow. See, I got Willow and Tam Nakano.
Mariah May with Tony Storm and Luther versus, and Mina Shirakawa.
Mina Shirakawa.
Mariah May versus Anna Jay. How about that? Versus Saraya with Harry Cameron and Anna Jay. All right, so Mariah May. I'm picking Mariah May.
Yeah, it's got to be Mariah May. Even though I'd like to see Saraya get the win, Mariah May just has so much more going on with not only her involvement with Shirakawa, but also how it's going with Tony Storm. You got to wonder when that storyline is going to come to a head.
Just let's keep this train rolling. Los Ingobernables del Japan. Yodo Tsuji.
Oh, yeah. Yoda Tsuji.
Titan,
yep.
And Hiromu Takahashi versus the Lucha Brothers and Mystico. Okay.
Oh, that match is going to steal the show. That's on the pre-show?
It's the main event of the pre-show.
That is a good match. I got to give it to LIJ.
Lucha Bros and Mystico.
Getting to that main card now.
Takeshita, Mark versus Mark Briscoe versus Jack Perry versus Dante Martin versus Lio Rush versus El Phantasmo. This is a ladder match for the vacant TNT Championship. I'm going to go Jack Perry. because, again, I think they're going to want to keep the heat on him.
Wow, that's not a bad match, but yeah, I'd like to see anybody else get it, but
Yeah.
it's got to be Jack Perry.
Time was Toni Storm defends the women's championship against Mira
Mina
Shirakawa.
Shirakawa?
Yeah, Mira Shirakawa. All right, we're getting better at this. All right, I got to go with Toni Storm, though. I think Toni's going to keep this title, and this is going to eventually lead to her Mariah May, I think, at Wembley.
Yeah, I don't see Toni dropping it here. It's going to be a good match, but something's going to happen with Mina, and it's going to drive that divide, I think, between Mariah May and Toni Storm, or at least start to.
So the Learning Tree has a 6-man match. I thought Jericho was supposed to wrestle Minoru Suzuki in this, possibly, but it's saying, but it also said on Rampage last night that it would be a 6-man. So I'm a little confused. If you watched Dynamite this past week, Minoru Suzuki said, "I don't want to be your partner. I want to fight for the title." I assumed that would be at the pay-per-view. I guess not. We got a 6-man. And although I don't remember them saying on Rampage, America's most trusted news source, Wikipedia, has it for you right here. It is going to be Chris Jericho and Big Bill and Jeff Cobb versus Samoa Joe, Hook, and Shibata. I really like that match, actually, if this is Jeff Cobb. I got to go Hook, Shibata, and Samoa Joe.
Yeah, that's going to be a good match. I agree with you. And also, some of these things could be announced on Collision tonight. I believe they taped Rampage and Collision ahead of time. So some of these might be spoilers. But yeah, I don't see Hook and Samoa Joe and Shibata losing this.
Hechicero versus MJF. I got to go MJF all day.
Oh, yeah, MJF, definitely. I think it's going to be a good match. I'm interested to see MJF versus Lucha Guy from MLL. But I don't see him losing, especially not in his hometown.
Zack Sabre Jr. versus Orange Cassidy. I'll go with Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, I mean, I want Zack Sabre to win, but Orange Cassidy is definitely AEW's guy, and I feel like this is going to be a match to showcase him, and he'll get
Jon Moxley versus Naito. This is for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. I'd like Moxley to win, but I feel like Naito is probably going to get his title back at this point.
It's a good question. I heard on another podcast they said if Naito to Moxley, I'm going to say Moxley wins. I'd like to see Naito win and get that title back, but I think it's Moxley.
Stephanie Vancouver, I believe I'm saying that right, Vancouver. She is the New Japan Strong Women's Champion, and she is taking on Mercedes Moné, and it is title for title. I'm going to go Mercedes here.
Yeah, I think Mercedes walks out of this the TBS Women's Champion and New Japan Strong Women's Championship, getting that title belt back.
The Young Bucks and Okada versus Scissors Ace, as it's Bowens, Max Caster, and Hiroshi Tanahashi. I like the Tanahashis with this team, but I got to go Okada and the Bucks here.
Yeah, I think this is going to be another one of those standout matches, maybe second best match of the night, and it's going to be the Elite. They're going to show out Tanahashi and the Acclaim, but you can't beat the Elite.
Bryan Danielson versus Shingo Takagi in the first round of the Owen Hart Cup tournament. I'm going to go Danielson.
Yeah, this is going to be a good match. Takagi, he's going to look great in it, but I can't see him beating Danielson. I think Danielson wins this tournament.
All right. And finally, the World Heavyweight Championship, the AEW Heavyweight Championship, Swerve Strickland versus Will Ospreay. I feel like this is a pick'em. I could see either one of these guys winning it, but Will Ospreay already has the International Championship, so I'm going to say Swerve keeps the title here.
Yeah, it's tough because, I mean, really what we're doing is we're looking forward ahead in time till All In Wembley Stadium. Will Ospreay will be involved in the main event. It's just, will he be chasing the title or will he be defending the title? And he already has a championship. He's going to make Swerve look awesome, but it's got to be Swerve. I don't see Ospreay being that double champion, especially when Mercedes is going to become double champion earlier in the night. And I think it's a bigger moment at All In for Ospreay to win the title in Wembley Stadium. Now, we had a lot of matches on the Forbidden Door card, but WWE, on the other hand, really going with the less is more approach. And in present time, we have another week where they could add matches to this, but they tend to keep their cards fairly, small and together. So, Dave, what do we have listed for this one?
All right, we got the men's Money in the Bank. It's Jey Uso, Kamaru Hayes, Andrade, Chad Gable, LA Knight, and one more spot to be determined as we record this. I don't care who that spot is. I think this is going to be Jey Usos to win here. A lot of great talent. Love Carmelo Hayes. Love Andrade. Love Chad Gable. LA Knight. They're all great. But I feel like when it comes to that world title situation, especially over on Raw, which we'll talk about that title later, I think that Jey Uso is going to be in that mix.
Yeah, there's so many great guys in this match. This match is stacked in a way where you could see like 4 or 5 of these guys actually winning. But like you said, it's got to be Jey Uso. He's been so over lately, and this is going to be his time to step it up even a little more.
Let's talk about the women's Money in the Bank. Io Sky, Chelsea Green, Lyra Valkyria, Tiffany Stratton, Naomi, and we got one more spot to be determined. Right now, based on everybody, I like Tiffany Stratton. I think she wins it. I think we already have a relationship with her and Nia Jax, and Nia Jax is getting ready to challenge for that world title with Bayley on SmackDown. And I think it'd be very interesting if Tiffany Stratton had that Money in the Bank briefcase going around right around that time, and that it creates some good stories. So I'm going to go Tiffany Stratton.
My first instinct is to go Lyra Valkyria because she's had such a great push since getting up to the main roster, but I think it's going to be that mystery spot. Okay. Whoever comes in, it's going to be a big enough name. They're going to steal the show. I'm going to say, if I had to guess, and this is a long shot, I'm calling a lady coming up from NXT, Sol Ruka's getting in there.
We got Damian Priest defending the World Championship against Seth Rollins. If Priest wins, Rollins can never challenge for the title for as long as Priest is champion. If Rollins wins, Priest must leave the Judgment Day. Interesting stakes here. I think Priest is going to leave the Judgment Day. But I don't think he's losing the title here yet. So I'm going to go with Damian.
Those are interesting stakes because it's got me giving a second thought to this because, you got to figure Seth going for that title. Just on the face of it, you're like, oh, Seth's got to win. But has Damian held it long enough? Like, if he lost it now, I still think that hardcore Damian fans would say that it's too short a reign.
Right.
I'm going back and forth, but I'm saying Rollins.
You know what, though? I'm forgetting something. Gunther challenges the winner for this at SummerSlam for the title. I'm gonna go. I like Gunther versus Rollins, so I'm gonna switch it up. I am gonna go with Rollins then.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay with Rollins. I like that pick.
Or we could have a cash. You never know. So
yeah, that Gunther thing does throw a wrench in the works. That was
Toronto, Canada. Sami Zayn. It's not Montreal, but just in Canada. Defending the Intercontinental Championship, though, against Braun Breaker. WWE has shown they're not afraid to put hometown guys over now, but they're also not afraid to beat them. So I feel like this is Braun Breaker's moment.
Yeah, the build up to this has been so good. It really feels like Braun Breaker's moment. Like when he made the challenge the last week on Raw, I believe, in real time 2 weeks ago, if you're watching this live, when he made that challenge to Adam and then he turns around and Sammy's right there and says he's got his match, I was like, ooh, that feels like the moment that they're setting up Braun Breaker for like superstardom with this title. And he's just been on such a good run lately that how could he not win it?
We'll see. And then I don't know if this will be the main event, but basically headline the main event is a good old fashioned 6-man match. We got world champion Cody Rhodes teaming with Randy Orton and Kevin Owens versus the Bloodline. What combination? We don't know, but Solo Sikoa we can imagine. And then it's going to be possibly Tonga Loa and Tama Tonga, but we also have Jacob Fatu in the mix. So let's look at this. I'm going to say, regardless of that, this is Solo Sikoa and the Bloodline winning, and it's going to be Solo getting the pin on Cody Rhodes because we're going to set up Solo and Cody at SummerSlam, which is going to, in return, set up the coming out for Roman Reigns here. And eventually we're going to see other things happen, but it's all going to play out at SummerSlam is my guess. So to do that, first we have to get the Solo versus Cody. We need to build up Solo. Solo will get the title. Will Jacob Fatu be in the match or will he help them actually get the victory? I'm not sure. Regardless, I say Solo is going to get the win for his team here.
Now, as far as the Bloodline combination, I see it as Solo and Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. And Jacob Fatu is going to come out and be ringside with them. He might insert himself into the match. He might just look menacing. But you set up such a good scenario that it makes really the most sense. Maybe Cody goes over just to send the people home happy. But just like we said, it's Braun Breaker's time. It's been Bloodline time for a long time. And like that first iteration of the Bloodline was great with Sami Zayn, but this feels so much hotter right now. So I think these guys get the win.
There's so many big matches in the future too. I mean, if The Rock is coming back, you got to think Rock and Cody, Rock and Roman. But Roman, we know, is coming back. And so you got Roman and Solo. Eventually, we want to get to the third Roman versus Cody. So it's just a question. And we have big events coming up. We have SummerSlam. We have Survivor Series. We're going to have that first Raw ever on Netflix, the Royal Rumble, whatever we got leading to WrestleMania. I'm already talking about WrestleMania, but it's just like there's a lot of big things on the horizon. So, but I think before we get there, I think to legitimize Solo, like Solo has to get the victory here.
Yes, and I'm glad you mentioned Raw going to Netflix this week. We had news that Raw is going to not be rated when it goes to Netflix. I don't know if I saw the word uncensored, but they're not going to have the same constrictions around them when they go to Netflix. What are you expecting out of them? I think it's definitely going to make Raw a new product. It's going to feel fresh like the first time it came out. I don't think they're going to do anything like over the top crazy with it, but they're freeing themselves of these restrictions that TV has, and I think it's going to give it new life.
Yeah, I think that it may get a few viewer discretion advised things or whatever. I don't know how that works with Netflix, but I would imagine you may see it more edgier of a product. I don't think it'll go too crazy. I don't think we're going to see anybody half naked or, I don't think they're going to be seeing anybody dropping F-bombs per se, but you may see a little more blood here or there. Might be a little more old school wrestling combined with a little attitude era-ish, but also still having, different. It just frees them up to do a lot of different things.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, I think the language is going to heat up. I think the blood is going to increase a bit. And with everything heating up, you need a cool drink. And when you're thinking cool drinks, there's only one place you're thinking of.
If you haven't tried Game Up, then you are missing out. Imagine your favorite seltzer and your favorite sports drink had a baby, but it's way better than that. Each can is 110 calories, low carb, 4.9 ABV. It's a nice light drink that is not light on flavor. Game Up comes in fruit punch, orange, lemon, lime, and grape. Pick it up at drinkgameup.com or at your nearest liquor store.
Damn, now that I've satisfied my thirst, I want to dig into a good book. And if you want to get a good wrestling book.
Hey, all you goddamn wrestling fans out there, listen, Old Black Bart has got a book. It's called Wrestle. Like that. It's got some dadgum good stories in there about some dadgum good wrestlers.
Read stories of Dusty Rhodes, Devon Eric, Scott Casey, Sergeant Slaughter, Roddy Piper, Mr. Fuji, Ron Bass, Bruiser Brody, Mike Davis, The Grappler, and many others.
And I guarantee you one thing, that it'll be the best dadgum read you've had in a long, long time.
Get your book today at Russellville.com or on Amazon. Russellville, it's where wrestling lives.
Read about the Northern Wrestling Federation in the book presented by Russellville.com, The Pro Wrestling Vault, Volume 2. Hear the story of Roger Ruffin, the man who trained Carl Anderson, the Monster Abyss, Jordan Clearwater, Chris Harris, and Jillian Hall.
Plus 45 other short stories including Jazz, Bobby Eaton, Kamala, Thunder Rosa, Mario Mancini, Scott Casey, PJ Black, Kerry Morton, Sal Renaro, Jeremiah Plunkett, Colby Carino, Bam Bam Malone, and many others.
Get your book today at Russellville.com. Russellville, it's where wrestling lives.